Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and we're in the middle of another heat wave here in the UK, so it is a hot day. Windows are open, who knows what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to try and take on a puzzle by Billy Beth today, I think a couple who have posted a number of puzzles. They've sent a number of puzzles to us. I've definitely, at some point in the past, started at least one of them and not finished it, so I'm a little scared of the difficulty levels, but this is a lovely idea, and I really do want to try it. These are slow thermometer arrows, and I will explain what they are in a minute or two. I'm going to briefly plead with you to subscribe to the channel. A lot of people watch the videos. We get a lot of statistics that show an awful lot of the views are by non-subscribers, and obviously you don't have to subscribe. It may be a commitment too far, but if you do subscribe, it boosts the likelihood of the algorithm showing these videos to other people. It makes them much more likely to be shown, to pop up in your feed. And it is definitely the way, and of course you can hit the bell to make sure that they do that as well, but that's up to you. But if you subscribe, it really makes a difference in terms of the channel's potential for survival, and we would love it if you would do that. And also because we are verging on the ridiculous total of 700,000 subscribers, and it would be great to get there. So do just think about whether it might be within your power to click the subscribe button. And thank you very much for that little moment. Now, we also, of course, have a Patreon channel where, now that does cost a tiny bit of money, $2 or $3 a month, but you do get the patron reward every month, which is a Sudoku hunt of some sort, a kind of multiple Sudoku challenge. The solutions to that, if you're on the $3 a month tariff, but if you're even on only $2 a month, you can see all the gridogram connections and crossword videos. Today, a new Times Monthly Club special. It is an insanely difficult cryptic crossword. This one's set by Roger Phillips, and you can watch me try and struggle through it without a dictionary. It is madness, but I quite enjoy it. I quite enjoy subjecting myself to the test of that, and you can watch that. A lot of people seem to marvel at the fact that I have a sixth sense for what might be a word and what won't be a word. And I wish that was a slightly stronger one still, but, you know, still trying to improve. Anyway, Patreon has a number of that sort of video, as I say, gridogram and connections too. Check it out. It is good fun. We also have some apps, including Line Sudoku and Classic Sudoku 2 and the Worms. And we have some merch, which includes mugs and hoodies and sweatshirts and baby onesies and all sorts of things. Please consider getting yourself some of our merch. But that's up to you. But please subscribe. Anyway, let's look at the rules of slow arrows by Billy Beth. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That means 1 to 9 will go in every row, column, and 3 by 3 box, once each. The lines are slow thermometer arrows where in one direction the digits increase or stay the same from one end to the other, and in the other direction the first digit is the sum of the other digits on the line. So if we imagine this in terms of the normal sort of things we see on the channel, and we draw a circle there, that might be the sum, therefore, that cell of those 3 digits. And if that was the case, this would be the largest number on the slow thermometer that this line also forms, which would start from the other end. And as you move along at each cell, you can't go to a smaller number. That's why we know this would be the biggest. We would go maybe 1, 3, 3 again, and 7 would be a possibility. So it's a really interesting dynamic, and I'm looking forward to exploring how this plays out in the context of the puzzle. Give it a try yourself on the first link under the video, or watch along with myself, and I'm going to get cracking now. I hit the wrong button. Let's get cracking. There's the right button to restart the clock. Okay, so what do we have here? We have Let's start with the longest line, because that seems likely. Is that the longest line? Yeah, I think it is. 6 cells compared to 5. Right. If we started with the low digits at this end, we might go 1, 1, 2, 2, 2 again, actually. And then we wouldn't have to have more than necessarily 8 at that end. So that is definitely possible. If we started at this end, oh, we have to increase quickly. 1, 2, because it's in the same box. It can't be the same digit. 2, 2, 3. And then we'd have 3 2s is 6, plus a 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. And that's too many for the circle. So we know that the circle, actually, maybe it's worth putting in these circles, is at that end. Now, when I went with the absolute minima, I still got to 8. Let's just write those in. 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 8. So the circle is 8 or 9. There's 1 degree of freedom, which means I can increase one of these digits by 1. I think the only candidate for that is this one. Because if you increase that, or any other digit before it by 1, this will have increased by 1 by the virtue of the rules. So there we go. We've actually got a decent start there. 1, 1, 2, 2, and then a 2 and an 8, or a 3 and a 9. And we've done one of the lines. Right, I'm going to move on to this one, not just because it's probably the next longest, but because it also goes through some of the territory of the last one. These 2 digits, for instance, can't be 1. I think this is that one began on the left. I'm going to call the beginning where the low digit is. I don't think this one probably can, because this digit can't be 1 or 2. So we'd have to start 3, 3, 4, 5 at a minimum. And I do not think that we can write 15 in the circle. So this one starts at this end and works to a circle at that end. And the minimum now is 1, 1, or not 2, 3, actually, because that would break this cell. So the minimum, I'm just putting this in temporarily, is 1, 1, 2, 4. And that adds up to 8. So again, this circle is 8 or 9. Now we have a pair in the middle row. But we also have 1 degree of freedom here, but we have to be a little bit more cautious exercising that 1 degree of freedom. We can't increase this digit, because that would increase this one perforce. And if we increase this one, that would increase this one. And we've only got 1 degree of freedom. So that is going to stay as a 1. However, we could increase this one, or alternatively, we could increase this one, or we could increase neither of them, and that's an 8. And now we seem to have a 2, 3 pair in this box. And that has made this cell interesting, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. This is now a minimum 4. So let's imagine this was the low end of this line. The line would have to begin 4, 4, 5 and add up to at least 13. So it doesn't do that. So this is the circle end of another line. And this line, the trouble is this line could stay really low. 1, 2, and then maybe a 3 in this position. Not because of the line, but because 1 and 2 are ruled out in the row. So that digit is at least 6. Now, there's a big push effect if we increase this by even 1. If that was a 2, that might be 3. Oh, to be fair, this could be 3 or 4. Okay, I'm going to rule out a 3 or anything higher here. If this was a 3, we'd be going 3, 4, 4. So that is a 1 or a 2. This one, well, we can't go up to 5. So that's 2, 3, or 4. If we went up to 5, we'd have 2 5s at least on the line and another 1. That's far too much. But it could, the 4 I can't rule out, because I think it could go 1, 4, 4, 9. This is the thing with slow thermos. You just have to get used to the fact that they play out quite slowly, weirdly. Right, I'm now going to look at this cell, which again sees 1 and the 2, 3 pair. If that was the second cell on its line, so we started here with perhaps a 2, This would be at least 4, but this would be at least 4. And that would get up to 10, which is too much for a circle. So that can't be the second cell on the line. It must be the third. And there must be a way to do that that's going to work and get us to a circle here. We could start with a 1. This digit sees a 1 and a 2. This is at least 3. So again, I'm going to put 3 or 4 in there. This one, if we started 1, 3, we could keep this down to 5. It can't be a 3 because of the 2, 3 pair. So this is 4 or 5. And this, at an absolute minimum, we're going 1, 3, 4. This is an 8 at minimum. So now we've got another 8, 9 pair. This one, by the way, is almost certainly a 1. It can't be 2. If it was 3, they'd add up to a minimum 10. So that is a 1. And then these are either 3, 4, 3, 5, or 4, 4. Anyway, I was seeing that 4, 5 pair. No, I was seeing this 8, 9 pair that that reduces this one to 6 or 7. Well, that's the kind of information we want. That's going to keep this down to a maximum of 4, because those have a minimum of 1, 2 equals 3. So this is now going to be 3 or 4. Remember, it sees 1 and 2. This could go 1, 2, 4 and be a 7, or 1, 3, 3 and be a 7. I don't think we can start with a 2 anymore and keep it down to 6 or 7. So that's a 1. We must have nearly all the ones done in the puzzle by now. No, not quite, actually. We've got a 1 in one of those cells, a 1 in one of those, and a 1 in one of these. Let's just have a think about this arrow. If that wasn't a 1, and we started at this end, it would be at least a 3. We'd be going 3, 3, 4, and that's too many. If we started at this end, we can't use 1 or 2 on the first 3 cells. So we'd be going 3, 4, 5. That's much too many. So this is a 1, and that is going to finish off all of our 1s. Let's get rid of the corner marks there. Excellent. And that is working to a circle at the far end, obviously. And that's actually very restricted. This 3, 4 is now the minimum here, taking us to an 8 total. So that's 8 or 9. 3, 4 would be the minimum. One of those can increase by 1, but only one of them. So this one can't. That must be a 3, and this one is either 4 or 5. I do like the way this works. It's not difficult. You just have to keep your eye on the prize all the time so far. Now, this digit sees a 1, a 2, 3 pair, a 4, 5 pair, all in the box, but an 8, 9 pair in the row. So it must be 6 or 7. And now that forms a 6, 7 pair in the box. And this digit is 8 or 9. We've got to put a 2 in one of these cells. Now, I don't think there's any way this can be a 2, because neither of these can be a 1 or a 2. And one of them would have to precede that if it was a 2 on the line. So we're going to put 2 in the corner. Oh, I thought I was going to yield to a flood of 2s, lead to a flood of 2s. It didn't. Right, I'm going to keep exploring new lines, but you guys will have to remind me if I have to come back and tidy up some of the old lines. Now, okay, these two are very interesting cells. No, both of these pairs are very, very interesting cells. Right. None of these digits I've got highlighted, let's make them yellow. None of them can be 1 or 2 in their boxes. So, these ones also can't be 8 or 9. That's really quite interesting. What I was going to say is, so if they are the beginning points, and I was going to say something ridiculous like they'd have to be a 3, 4 pair, but that is ridiculous because they don't have to both begin on the same side of these lines. One could be a beginning and one could be an ending. But both of these lines are going to begin with at least a 3. Okay, what I'd like to do is to rule out that these are 2 beginnings. If they were, they would be at least 3 and 4. Ah, I can rule out that these are both beginnings because of that cell, they couldn't be 3 and 4. They could be 3 and 5, but if one of them was a 5 as a beginning, the next digit along would be at least a 6, and that would be far too high. In fact, can either of them be a beginning? Yes, if we went 3, 5. No, neither of these ones, let's make them different color, neither of the pink ones can be a beginning cell. Because the minimum you could do here is 3 and then not 4, because that would go here, but 5. So the minimum you could get the line add up to add up to is 8. And these yellow cells can't be 8 or 9. So neither of these are beginnings. These two are both beginnings. And neither of them can begin with a 5, because the next cell would have to be at least a 5, and that would be too much. So that is a weird 3-4 pair. These cells, now the trouble is, as we cross the box border, we can repeat the digit. But we can't have both 3 and 4 here, again, because of this. So these are a minimum of 3 and 5. And that says this can't be the 3 in that combination. Let's just think about that being 3 and 5. What would all of these yellow and light blue cells add up to? 7, 10, 15. Those would have to add up to 15. Okay, that's doable. So what else do I have to add in here? This could be a 4, I suppose, or even a 5. I mean, there's even a way it could be a 6. That's quite annoying. I thought we were going to... I think these two have to... Well, we have to allow 3, 4, 3, 5. So these could be 6 and 8 at an absolute minimum. I mean, they're all at least 6. It's not quite as helpful as it promised to be, but it is, I mean, it is clearly quite helpful. Right, one of these digits is a 2. Now, we've got this 1. That means these two are consecutive. There's an effective white dot between them. This one can't be 2 or 3. And this one, though, is not very constrained. It's not a very useful white dot. Okay, let's look at this 4-cell line, another 4-cell line. No 1s on it, by the way. Right, it cannot start this end because the minimum would be 2, 3, 4, and we can't put a 9 here because of the 8, 9 pair. So it must start at this end, and this is the circle. 2, 2 again, and a 3 gets us to a minimum of 7. If this wasn't a 2, we'd be going 3, 3, 4 for a minimum of 10. That's no good. So that is a 2. Then this one is 2 or 3. It can't be a 4, or we'd be going 2, 4, 4 for a minimum of 10. This one is 3, 4, or 5. I bet you that digit is a 2. 2 in this box can now only be in one of those cells, and therefore 2's in one of those cells. And 2 in this column means everything else in the column is 5, 6, or 7. We do need a 3 in one of these cells. It's not going to be there. The 3 is going to be in one of these two. This, oh, obviously I could put the circle in on that arrow. This is, I'm sure, if that was a 3, this would be, it would have to go 3, 4, 9. And that 3 would cause this to be a 4 and this to be a 5, 6 pair. And yellow and light blue would then add up to at least 18, making pink impossible. So that's not a 3, that's a 2. That always happens if neither of these are a 3. That would be 4, that would be a 5, 6 pair. That's too much for pink. So one of those is definitely a 3. That doesn't carry the weight I was hoping. This can't be a 4 because we're aiming for that 6 or 7 total. Hadn't seen that. Now I've got 2, 3 pair in the row. Is that going to do anything? That digit has to appear somewhere in the row. Don't know where. Oh, this digit cannot be 1, 2, or 3. If this was the low end of the line would have to go 4, 5, 9. That would force this one to go 4, 8, which is actually okay. It would force this digit to be 8, so this line would go 2, 4. That would be a 5. Right, here's why that doesn't work, and it's a bit complicated, but I'm prepared to take it. If this was a 4, this line would go 4, 5, 9. If this was the low end, is what I'm trying to say. This line would have to go 4, 5, 9. That 9 and 4 would make this an 8 and 5 pair. That would be 5, and this would be 9. Now, how would that work for this line? If that was 5, this has to be 9, but we're saying it couldn't be. I mean, that's quite complicated, but that is not the beginning of this line, so it is the circle end. The line goes 2 or 3 or 4. I think that exactly the same principle lets me rule out 4, because 4, 5, 9 that way round is exactly the same as 4, 5, 9 that way round, as far as impacting these cells, so it can't be a 4. That's 2 or 3. This is at least 3, and this is, actually I've got to leave 7 in there as a possibility. This is at least 5, which is really not a very significant reduction in possibilities. So should I consider this last line? Yeah, maybe. Can't begin with a 1. Oh, and the middle digit can't be 1, 2, or 3. So the middle digit is at least a 4. So the line is at least 2 in one of the 2. That couldn't be 2. But that one potentially could be, I think. Then this could be 4. This has a minimum of 6 if it's not the low digit. But if it is the low digit, this could go 3, 4, 7. Okay, I've lost interest in that line. I find it very difficult to narrow it down, if I'm honest. Yeah, this is getting stickier as we go into it, isn't it? There is a 3, 4 pair in this row that I haven't really assessed. Doesn't seem to be wildly helpful. There's a good chance I could tidy up something. Right, here's a lovely thought. One of these has to be a 5. Now, I'm pretty sure whichever that is, its circle is going to be a 9. Let's look at this one first. If that's a 5, this has to go 1, 3, 5, 9. If that's a 5, this has to go 1, 1, 2, 5, 9. So one or both of these circles are 9s, and that means this one is an 8, and that is useful. That makes this cell a 2. That gives us a 3 here. Now we know all about this line, 1, 3, 3, 7, and that makes these yellow cells fixed. Now that 2 has given us a 3 here. This circle has become a 9, so we can just add up this line, and we need a 4 now. That's a 5, and that does exactly what we said it would do. So it turned out both of these circles became 9s when we applied that. We've finished the central box. Now, this digit can't be 5 or 9, and this one can't be 6. So what's going on this line? 7 has gone out the window. 3 is apparently ruled out by Sudoku. Oh, there's quite a lot of possibilities left. Fine. Right, digits in this column are 5, 7, and 8 still to place. Now, this one is 1 more than this one by virtue of this line. So this digit is 4, 6, or 7. None of them are ruled out. Okay, 5 here can't be in those cells. So in box 2, it's in one of these. And now this digit can't be a 5. This one can't be a 6 by adding up its line. This one is at least 8. Oh, that's an 8-9 pair in the row. Everything else in the row is 5, 6, or 7. This is either 3, 4 or 3, 6. So we know the parity of this digit, strangely. And we're not finished in that box by any stretch of the imagination. This can't be a 3 anymore from both across and down. So therefore this can't be a 7. We need a 2 in one of those positions. How do we not know which one? We need a 3 and in the final column, and it's in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. I feel like 3 probably goes on the end of the line here, but I don't know. 2, 1, 2, 3, 9. 9s. How are we doing on 9s? We did get a few. No, not well enough. Got a 2 in one of those cells. This row, we need a 9 in one of those two. Those haven't been resolved. Ah, this is a 4-5 pair leading to an 8-9 pair here, because each arrow is having a 4 added to it. Oh, that doesn't really... Oh, that's a 4-5 pair as well. Right. Let's get rid of the colouring here and start colouring 4s and 5s against each other, maybe in red and yellow. So red now can't go in those cells. It's not that powerful, is it? Five was in one of those two. This digit, if it's a 6 or 7, it's the other digit up here. But if it's a 4, this feels like an important triple as well. 4, 5. Or is it this line? I don't know. I don't know what's next in this. Maybe we have to do sort of distant pairs again, with imagining these to both be 5s puts them under quite a lot of strain, because then that has to be a 9. No, it's not. Oh, okay. Imagine that red was both 5s. I think the 5 in box 6 would then have to be here. And that feels quite interesting. I'm highlighting where 5s would be. Oh, hang on. I hadn't seen 7 can't be in that cell. I was going to say, so this can't be a 5-6 pair. Well, I've known that for a long time. Hasn't done anything. Oh. Okay, let's think about it from this point of view. If this was a 6, that would be a 4, that would be a 2, that would be forced. That would also force red to be a 4, so that would be an 8. Red being a 4 would force this to be a 6, and that would make this a 9-8 pair, and this a 5-7 pair. Oh, that can't be 7. In fact, if that was a 6, this digit would be a 6. Because that's where a 6 would go in column 6. Yeah, that's worth thinking. There'd be a 6 in one of these places, a 6 in one of those two. This is if red was a 4. It's not dead in the water, is it? This fish is still thrashing around. Oh, this digit sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 in the row, and the 9 in the box, and the 4, 5 pair in the column. So that is 6 or 8. Oh, I've got to think about this line. I just have not. I've been just a bit scared to think about this line. Right. If it starts from this end, 3 is the minimal digit. So then we would be looking at 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5, 7 or 8 if it started at this end. It couldn't start with a 4 because that would become 5 and we can't put 9 there. So that's how it would be if it started at this end. It could start at this end, and annoyingly it could even start with a 2 at this end. But it can't, it can't start with a 4 at either end because of that 4-5 pair. So this could be a 2 or a 3. This then, which can't be 2 or 3, would be 4 or 5, well, or maybe 6 or 7. Because this can be from anywhere above 6 if it's high. It's really not been wildly helpful, I have to say. That hasn't helped me a jot. In fact, I almost can't believe how useless that was. Okay, there's another fact. We've definitely got a 3 in one of those two, so we've got an X-wing on 3s. Ah, that's very interesting. We've got an X-wing on 3s in rows 6 and 8. 3 in row 6 is confined to those two cells, in row 8 to those. So one of these must begin with a 3. So this digit can never be a 2. One of them is a 3 to begin this sequence. Then you can't have a 7 here. You must have 4, 5, or 6 to get to 7, 8, or 9 in one of these cells. And if this digit is the 3, that's a 3 on the other line. And then this is 7 or 8. Just as this is, oh yes, 6 has been ruled out here, just as this would be 7 or 8. So if that's a 3 and if that's a 3, that's 3. This is a 7, 8 pair. Then we've got 4, 2, 6 here. These two would have to be the same as each other because, no, they wouldn't. Would they? No, I'm positing 3s there and there. These two would have to not be the same as each other to allow different digits here. And if that's a 3, 6 is ruled out. This would be a 7, 8 pair. This would be a 4, 5 pair. Basically, this digit would be yellow. If these were both 3s, this digit would be yellow. That's weird. And then that would be yellow. Now, what's happening to yellows then? Yellow is 4 or 5. This digit would be red. Oh, wow, this is quite complicated now. This is where the full Bellybeth power kicks in. Okay, I'm going to do some Sudoku. This digit is 4, 5, or 7. This column, we've had 3, 2, 9, 1. That's 5, 6, or 8. This could be anything. But are we limiting to a... If that was 5, this would be a 6, 8 pair. And that would be 7. So if that was 5, this would be forced to be 2. That's quite interesting. This would have to be a 2, 5, 7 line if this was 5. This would be forced to be a 3. If that goes 2, 5, 7 with 6, 8 here, Oh, look, 4 is definitely in one of these two cells. I hadn't really observed that in this box. That digit can't be a 4. That is 5 or 7. This is 2, 5 or 7. Right, if this digit was 5, this is 4. No, where was I starting this chain? I was starting it with, yeah, if this digit is 5, that's the 6, 8 pair that makes this a 7, 2, 4, 3. That doesn't really resolve anything on this line as far as I can see. Okay, let's pencil mark this row with 6, 7, 8, 9. Just to give myself the appearance that I'm doing something. This digit can't be either 4 or 5. It sees both yellow and red. So that's also 6, 7, 8 or 9. Red almost has to be here, but it could just be a 5 there. Yellow almost has to be here, but it could just be a 5 here. Ah. No, I was about to go, this can't be yellow because it would be a 6, but it wouldn't necessarily be a 6. Okay, let's think about this being a 6. No, let's think about the possibility of us having limited 4 in this box. It's definitely in one of those cells. So 4 in this box is definitely in one of these two. And that's not much good for limiting 4 down here. 4 in this box is in one of these two. Four in this column is in one of these two. 4 in the bottom row is either here or here. That's strange. I don't know what it does. I cannot quite see a way to make the sort of concatenation of circumstances play out in a way that actually tells me the next move. This digit is getting quite constrained. It sees a 3 in the box, 1, 5, 9, and a 4 in the column, and a 2 down there. This is 6, 7, or 8, just like that. So if this was high, that would be a 6, 7, 8 triple. Everything else in the row would be 2, 3, 4, including that being a 3, which we would know anyway. If this was a 3, this can't be 6. So if that's a 3, this digit is a 6. And this feels like the most constrained thing. If that was a 3, this digit is a 6. Then we've got 4, 5 here. And then we know that 5 is red. So if that's a 3, this is a 5. And this is an 8. That's if this is a 3. So this can't go 3, 4, 7. If it's a 2, I just don't know. There must be a way to see something here that I can't see. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to scream for, oh, 2 in this box is definitely in one of these two cells. Look, none of these have got a 2 pencil mark. Right, so that stops this being a 2 and makes this a definite 2. I don't think that's going to do anything because it hasn't really affected this line. I mean, it's placed a 2 there. This can't be 4, which is confined in this box, or 9. mean, that is very uninteresting pencil marking. 2, 1, and the 4, 5 pair. We've got a 3 in one of those cells. Right, let's go through this rigmarole again of 3 being there. Because then 3's here. And this digit has to be red or yellow, and it has to be yellow, so these two will be different. So if 3 is there, this is yellow. Then yellow has to be here. Okay, then that makes this digit red. So maybe let's think about the reds instead. One of those two is red. Red, oh, I don't know, it could be repeating here. Oh, right, if red is 4, these digits are red. And we have 1 here. 1 here, if red is 4. I don't know, it's all to do with this line. I can't work out what's going to go wrong with it in some circumstance. Something is going to go wrong with it in some circumstance. And I strongly suspect it's when this is a 3, something's going to go wrong with this line. Because 2 seems to have a lot of possibilities. So if something's a 3 in this line, that is 7 or 8. I want to say that makes this yellow, but it doesn't necessarily, because that could be yellow. Wow, I'm really sorry. I'm absolutely struggling at this stage of the puzzle. It's not going to help if I make known 4s or 5s red, yellow, hatch colours. I don't think it is. If that was yellow and it's 4, then it's yellow 4 here. But if that's red, then it's red 4 here. Okay, so if that's yellow 5, that's yellow 5. Then what else? Anything else? Very obviously. Sometimes I feel like I should be using this line. If that's a 4, that digit is a 4 by Sudoku, and then this would be 8. I can't see a breakdown of that. I think there must be a breakdown somewhere, and I just can't get my handle on it. Oh, I'm sorry, I just can't get it. I am feeling a bit dense, I admit. Okay, stick with me here. Let's just have a contemplate now. I'll come back in a second. Sorry, I've got to do something now, irritatingly. Sorry, you had to bear with me while I did something else. And now you'll have to bear with me while I pick up the threads of my thoughts and where we were. So, one of these line ends is a 3. Oh yes, we had this double 3 pair. Now, throwing 3 off one of these is the nil action possibility. That, Keeping 3 on them both is much more constraining. And I did work out that this would have to be the other version of 4 or 5, because you can't go 3, 6, 9 this way. So yeah, okay, if those are both 3s, and this is the case I'm hoping, I think, to prove wrong rather than right, that's red and that's yellow. Now that has to be yellow. It's the only place yellow could go in column 1. And that would mean that yellow 4, 5 would be a pair here in row 5, and we'd have 7 and 2 placed in row 5. And this would be a 7, 8 pair on the ends of those lines in the 2 circles, and this would be a 6. So the effect of these being the 3s is to give us 7, 2, 6 over here. This would then be a 5, 9 pair, and this would be a 4, 8 pair. And where's the damage then? Well, then 8 in this column, sorry, in column 7, would have to be at the bottom here. That would be a 9, that would be a 5. That's about what we want, because we do suddenly need a 5 in this column. 8 would be here. Is that a problem anywhere else? It doesn't look like it. So but it is very constraining. I know I'm looking ahead a bit, but I don't know how else to do the puzzle. If those are both 3s, this is yellow, this is a 7, 8 pair. That's a 6. That's red, yellow. So this is 7, 2. 7, 2, 6. Then we got 9, 5 in the top bits of this box and 4, 8 in the bottom. Oh, come on, do something, be something. Help me, you little puzzle. 7 and 6 would be, that would be 6. Ah, that 8, 7 pair makes that a 6. And that makes this 4 and 5 is red. Well, then that's where the red 5 goes. And 4 is yellow. So this would be the 4. We would know what everything was. And that would make this a yellow 4 and that a red 5. Okay, this is getting interesting, and it's relatively simple when you see the right bits. That being a 3 pair, which is one of the eventualities of this X-wing, would make this a 7, 8 pair. And that makes this a 6, and that resolves 4 there and 5 as red. So, oh, that's just impossible in this box. This being a 3 and red being a 5 is impossible, because now 5 and 8 have been used there, and these cells would have to be 6. Whoa, okay, that's cling on to that. So that means I'm going to go through it one more time to convince myself and hopefully you. If this was how the 3's disposed in this pairing, here and here, that would be a 7, 8 pair, making this 6, 4 there, red would be 5. So with that 3, we'd have 5 and 8 here, red being 5, and they would be impossible. So that can't happen. Therefore, that is not where the 2 3's go. They go in these positions, and that is going to mean this is the circle on this line, and it's not a 3 clearly. And that means, oh, what happened there? I was trying to get rid of, did I take it out of some other cell? I don't know. This one's a 2, isn't it? Obviously. That's now not a 2. This can't be 8 anymore because we can't get to that from the red. 23951. We've got a 4 digits from 4678 here. I'm really hoping this solves the rest of it, but I'm not convinced it's gonna. In fact, if I've only sorted out 1s, 2s, and 3s, well, I mean, it's still something. Oh, look, this digit's not a 2, so this digit is where 2 goes in box 6. It's good to mention 1s, 2s, and 3s to myself, and they're all done now. I can actually see that, weirdly. They're all done in the puzzle. Now, what about this row? If that's a 4, this is 5, and that's 9. So we'd have 4, 9 here. The alternative is that this is 4, and then that's 5, and that's 6. Don't know what that does. Okay, 4, 5. I'm tempted to colour this 6 or 7 and then see if I can, as being the same, either low or high in its 6-7 partnership, the same as red is in its red-yellow partnership. But that's just mad. Let's not worry about that. Come on, 2s are done. This digit is obviously 4, 5, or 7. It's got a good shout at being 4. 8 has to be in one of these cells and has to be in one of these. Oh, is it worth thinking about 6 was always ruined there? If that was 6, this is 4, that's 5. Then this is 5, that's 7. No, that works fine. Maybe 7. No, 7 doesn't affect those. Okay, if this is 5, that makes red into 4. That puts 7 here and 6 here. That seems to work fine. 7 has got held into one of those 2 cells. I really thought I'd made a breakthrough now. Okay, 4 in this column we know is in one of those 2. So that's not a 4. This could be 4. Things might happen if this was 4. That would force 4s into these positions. And interestingly, given this, what would happen to the circles, that would make this an 8-9 pair. If this was 4, well, in fact, that's 5, 8, 9. This would be 6 and 7. I don't see that it's easy here, Billy Beth. I really don't. I mean, it's probably not meant to be, but I'm certainly not finding it. Right, let's look at this row 8 where stuff is happening. If that was 5 or 6, then we have an 8-9 pair in these 2 circles. That would stop this being 7, 8. I don't know what else it would do. I don't know. Okay. Column 1, any interest about 4s? Well, 4 is in one of those 2 positions in box 1. So if 4 was red, 4's there and there. I don't know, that doesn't do it. I think I've got to focus on this line, or maybe the lines up here. Yeah, maybe still the lines up here. If this is a 5, this must be 9. Then we have to go 7, 6. Oh, if this is, oh, this has been available forever. Whatever this is, that's a 6. Look at this. If that's a 5, this is 9. That must be 7. Oh no, then that's 4. I've got it the wrong way around. Sorry, that was just bad maths. So if this is a 5, that's 4. If this is a 4, that's 8. That has to be 6, and that's 9. So we'd have 5, 7 there in that case. Or 6, 8. 6, 8 could only be one way round. That's the unlikely version. And, okay, if this was forced to be 6, 8, by red being 5, this digit would be a 9, and red 5 would be here. And then we could populate quite a lot of the red 5s in the puzzle. Not all, well, one of those, so definitely there, then definitely in the corner, and one of those two. Oh, the silly key on the keyboard. No, hang on, not there. There. That's where red 5 would be. One of those two. That one, and that one. This would be where red 5s would be, leaving 2 possible places in boxes 2 and 8. If that was red 5, because it has an impact on this line down here. We'd have a 9 in that circle. And that means this circle couldn't have 5 or 9 on it. So this line would go 3, 4, 7. And then this line couldn't have 7, 9, or 5 on it. Oh, and I think there's still, I'm sorry, these calls go on. I think there's still a possibility it could be. Which is, no, it couldn't be 6, 7. It couldn't have 7 or 5 on it in this scheme. But it could have 5 on it in one of the places. That's the problem. It could have 5 in this cell. 5, 4, 9, 8, 6. This would be a 7. Wow, it's so complicated to look ahead through this puzzle. I'm sorry, I'm finding it very difficult to find a route here. It's a really interesting idea, and I love these arrows, but it's a real strain. Can I do any more colouring of yellow and red? See, if that was yellow, this couldn't be, so that would be yellow. If 4 is yellow, we're in these positions. There's something odd here. No. That 8, 9 are generated by the yellow, red, 4, 5. That's just, it's not helpful. One of these is 5 in row 3 and is therefore yellow or red. Obviously, that either means this is red, 5, or this is yellow, 5. Now, where does that take us? oh, let's just have a think about this being 5, 7, because that forces that to be 4. It puts 7 there as well. This would be 6, 4, 8, 7 there, and a 9, 5 pair. If this is 5, 7, that can't be 7. That is a 4, that's an 8. If this is 5, 7, that's obviously a 6, 8 pair. If that's a 7, that's a 7. If this is a 6, then this is a 9, 6 pair. Yeah, hang on. If this is a 6, oh, this becomes an 8. And then down on this arrow, we can't have 6 or 8 if this is a 6. So if this is a 6, this arrow has to be 3, 4, 7. Then you've got 5, 9 over here. Oh, crikey. I mean, I can see a lot of it. I think 4, 6 is the difficult thing here, because that's an 8 and this is 4, 7. So 4, 6 forces this to be red 4. The red would also be in the corner there. Red 4. Have to be there and there. And then there'd be certain impacts on 5s, which would be yellow 5. There would be forced by that. So just look at these yellow 5s pushing around the grid. Have I got this highlighted deliberately? Yes, I have. Yeah, if yellow is 5, this is what's happening to it around the grid, because red is 4. It's in one of those two. And one of those two, if yellow is 5, and one of those two. I don't know, I can't. We'd have 9s. Ooh. Five, 4, 6. 7, 9, that would be 8. No, oh, I think there's a problem. I think there's a problem with this cell. Right, if red is 4 and yellow is 5, then this 4, 6 makes that an 8, and suddenly this arrow has to be 4, 7. That makes this a 4, 5 pair with 6 there. Now, this becomes an 8, 9 pair. But that 4 makes this a 5, so we know that's a 9 and this is 8. No, that and red, yeah, that is a problem, because we were starting with red 4. And that's going to make red 4 there and that an 8. I mean, that is incredibly complicated if that's what we have to do, but it does fail. For red to be 4 makes this 6 and this 8. 6 is ruled out of there, 8 out of here. This has to be 4, that has to be 7. That makes this line 5, 4. That makes this digit a 6. That 4 has made this a 5 and this a 9 and this an 8. And the red 4 there has made this an 8. And we've got 2 8s clashing in column A. And there may be a quicker way to see this, but I don't know what it is. That's all I can see. And it's very, very hard. But it is logical, and I am going to use it. I'm never afraid to use it. This red is not a 4. Red is 5. So there we go. Red is 5. And let's colour up the grid and find all the 5s. There's the next one. That's a 9. That's now, I mean, this is just going to literally fold away now because yellow is 4, so we can just fill in some circle totals there and there and here 9. I never wrote the circle into that cell, did I? Should have done that. Not there, there, and there. And that one is a 7, and that one's a 4. I mean, this is just going to totally give up, thank goodness, at this point. But wow, that's been hard to get to. 6, 8 there. That's now 9. That gives us 5 here. We could colour that to just keep the colour going. Yellow is 4. Right, let's just keep going. This can't be a 5 in the row. That can't be a 5 in the box. That's a 6, 8 pair. This can't be 8. In this top row, I don't know. We need a 9. Oh, look, this can't be a 9 in the row, so that's 7. This is 4. I colour it yellow. I colour that one yellow. I now find yellow in box 8, and that's always, maybe it would have been possible to establish that whatever way round red and yellow were, that was always a 4-5 pair. I didn't find that. I couldn't get that out of the puzzle, but I think I have got out of the puzzle alive at least. 6, 8. Let's colour those yellows. They're the last ones. And we can fill in this row with an 8 and a 6. And these are a 7. 5, 8, 9 along here. 6, 7, 9. That's a 5. That's an 8. That's part of a 6, 9 pair. So this is a 5. That's 7 in the corner. That's a 9 in the column. That's a 6. Now we could colour these 5s. And there we go. We found one in the corner down here. And I can write in 8 and 9 and 6 and 8. And I've got 3 cells left to do, which are 7, 6, 9. And there we go. That is the solution to what turned into a very difficult puzzle. And it didn't take me quite that length of time because I had to do something else. But my goodness, I found that hard. Really tough. Slow arrows, slow solve. Do let me know if I've missed some beautiful, simple logic, because I couldn't find it. I feel a bit beaten by that one, but at least it's done. And it's a great puzzle to showcase because people set these fantastic idea puzzles. And there probably was a slightly better way, but there we go. Hope you enjoyed seeing me struggle, and do leave a comment and do subscribe. See you soon. Bye for now.